Tonight on DC News Now, just hours to go until the polls open.
It's unsettling.
I don't plan on being here tomorrow during the day for a few days after.
We have team coverage of the security concerns and how police and businesses are preparing.
Final day of campaigning for a key U.S. Senate race in Maryland. The message also Brooks and Hogan have for voters.
Hi, everyone. Looking at warmer conditions going into your election day. I have your forecast coming up.
A heroic return from surgeries to rehab to the police station.
I'm going back to do this because I want to, and it's something I'm passionate about.
We go one-on-one with Sergeant Patrick Kep a year after he lost both legs in a near-deadly crash.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Now on DC News Now, I'm Susan Tran.
Hey, everybody. I'm Chris Flanagan. DC News Now is your local election headquarters, and with just hours until Election Day, local and federal law enforcement agencies, they are beefing up security here in the district.
Including in that area along Howard University, where Vice President Kamala Harris will hold her election night watch party. We have live team coverage for you tonight as crews are finalizing their preparations in DC.
Yeah, our Daniel Hamburg live downtown with the security concerns and impact on businesses there. But first, we begin with our Mariel Carbone near Howard University.
And Mariel, at this point, DC police say there are no credible threats on the table, but I imagine that they're prepared for any and everything at this point.
Yeah, Susan, that was really the message from the police chief tonight, saying that the district is ready for whatever could happen tomorrow and even beyond. Now, here at Howard, you can already see security in place, officers blocking off roadways, fencing around much of the perimeter. This as law enforcement warns residents and visitors alike that no violence will be tolerated here tomorrow.
With hours to go until Election Day, federal properties are increasing security, like at the Naval Observatory.
It's unsettling.
You will notice increased patrols in key areas downtown and around the White House.
The Metropolitan Police Department is in full activation mode, ensuring people can get to and from all 75 district polling places safely, despite no credible threats. Police Chief Pamela Smith is doling out this warning.
There will be no tolerance for violence in our city, no destruction or any unlawful behavior.
Tuesday, the agency plans to deploy its new helicopter, Falcon 1, and use drones to protect key areas. The Real-Time Crime Center will continue to monitor citywide, and MPD will work with federal partners on planned events, including in and around the Howard University campus, where Vice President Kamala Harris will hold her election night watch party.
And there will be personnel assigned to manage that crowd.
Everybody is, I think, feeling a little anxious.
Mayor Muriel Bowser is encouraging people to take care of themselves this election.
We have two distinct choices. I think people feel a little powerless, especially for us who don't live in swing states. But we do still have power because we have to exercise our votes.
And something else to note, if you're out in D.C. tomorrow to help support the officers, MPD actually rented some unmarked cars. Those now have MPD logos placed on them and lights on the top. The chief telling people that those are legitimate officers working in them. They'll mostly be doing traffic and road closures. So, of course, if you see any of those officers, the chief is saying you will want to follow their directions.
All right, Mariel, so considering the fact that it looks like there's a road closure right behind you, so much fencing, there will be detours, how is everyone supposed to get really credible information about where to navigate and how to get around in the district tomorrow?
Yeah, the first piece of advice, if you don't have to be in the area of Howard, maybe stay away. But the city, the mayor, the police chief saying to make sure that you're checking with those official city websites. So you can go on to MPD's website. That'll have the road closures for the area. And you can also sign up for those alerts through the city. That's Alerts DC. And you can get those pushed to your phone through the city's website. They'll tell you all the information about how to get around, but also if there are any issues that come up tomorrow, you can get those alerts right there. And that, again, that is through this city.
Much, Mariel Carbone.
Meanwhile, the Pentagon says the D.C. National Guard has been approved to assist D.C. Fire and EMS. The approval is for Election Day through November 13th. Mayor Bowser says she has not yet activated the National Guard. Now, nationwide, the Pentagon says about 60 National Guardsmen from 6 states have been activated, and about 600 Guardsmen from 17 states are now on standby. In Maryland, the race for a seat in the U.S. Senate is coming to a close. Democrat Angela Alsobrooks and Republican Larry Hogan have been busy trying to get out the vote. Former governor hopes his message, it's a centrist one, will be enough to flip Senator Ben Cardin's seat from Democrat to Republican. And Alsobrooks says the race has been competitive because the stakes are so high. Well, the latest on their last day and night of campaigning. Ahead all new at 10:30.
Over in Virginia, Arlington County Police, they are ramping up security ahead of Election Day. Officers will do extra checks around polling places, but they say they will not position any officers at those polling sites. They are asking everyone to stay alert and continue to monitor your surroundings. Virginia voters coming out in historic numbers at this point. The Commonwealth set a record for just how many people cast an early ballot over the weekend. The Virginia Public Access Project says more than 137,000 people voted in person on Saturday, and that broke the previous record of 126,000 set just the day before on Friday. Plus, there were 5,700 mail-in ballots that came in, bringing Saturday's total to about 143,000 votes. That means Virginia is nearly at 2.3 million people who have already cast an early ballot.
And make sure to follow us here on air and online for all your election coverage. Our Election Night special starts tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, right here on DC News Now. So we have a lot happening, and you know what? It's happening. The weather is going to be ideal getting out to vote.
We don't even have to worry about that. That's one fewer things that we need to be concerned about.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
super helpful when the weather's good. You can just freely go out any part of the day tomorrow and not have any issues. Right now, we're looking at mostly cloudy conditions. Here's that forecast for tomorrow. So if you're starting your day pretty early, getting to the polls around 8 a.m., mostly cloudy skies, temperatures into the upper 50s. We do have a warming trend throughout the day. So if you're going middle afternoon into your early evening, it starts to get a bit breezy, but temperature is going to be back into the middle 70s tomorrow. So a very mild fall day under mostly to partly cloudy conditions throughout the afternoon. More sunshine compared to what we dealt with this afternoon. A slight disturbance allowed for a few increasing clouds, but high pressure is going to take over again. 60 right now, overcast skies. My only issue is that if you start to go to the polls a little bit later in the afternoon, remember sunset time around 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and so the days are getting shorter. Temperatures 40s and 50s right now with a few 60s across Prince George's County into central Montgomery County. It's a mild night, so if you open up the window, you get a nice southerly breeze. Good looking forecast for your Tuesday. Wednesday, we're looking at record-breaking warmth. Have more on that coming up.
All right, we look forward to that. Janessa, thank you. An arrest in Maryland in the case where a toddler finds a gun in her home and shoots herself. Prince George's County Police arrested an 18-year-old. They say Elijah Fauntleroy came into that home on Sunday afternoon, left this handgun right there in the living room, and that's when the little girl picked it up and shot herself. Investigators say that Fauntleroy then grabbed the gun and ran off. They were able to find and arrest him today. The little girl was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but police say that she will recover. A break-in in the district. DC police right here searching for the suspect who went into this dry cleaners in Southeast. This was back on October 19th. And take a look. You can see the person rifling around here and then finding what appears to be a cash drawer right here behind the desk. And investigators want to know if you have any information on what this and who this person is. As you see the person leaving, they have a reward for anyone that provides information leading to an arrest.
All new tonight, a Montgomery County police sergeant is getting back on the streets. It comes about a year after his legs were amputated when he was run down allegedly on purpose by a speeding driver. The veteran officer spoke about the journey from hospital to cruiser with DC News Now's Max Marcilla.
Every step of the way from injury to surgeries to rehab and a return to the police station, Sergeant Patrick Koepp has been celebrated, even commended with awards for his work getting impaired drivers off Montgomery County streets.
I physically feel great.
Speaking with us more than a year after the crash, Sergeant Koepp says the last few months have been the beginning of a return to normal. He's taught recruits about traffic safety and DUI enforcement and is preparing the county's holiday task force targeting impaired drivers.
I can imagine there could be other people who might go through the trauma that you went through and might want to take a step back and maybe change professions or do something else, but you're still here and committed to doing this work. Why is that?
Probably because I'm stubborn to some extent, and I think it's important for me to give back in the way that I can. There's no reason that I'm not going to be able to be back out there on the road and make traffic stops and lock up drunk and drug impaired drivers.
Kep is now preparing to get back on the streets sometime this month with some differences but the same mission.
I walk a little different. You know, if you see me walk down the hallway, it's not the most smooth, perfect thing, but that's because I have 2 prosthetic legs. I'll have some adaptations to the vehicle. You know, it's just making sure that people realize, you know, my friends and my family realize that I'm going back to do this because I want to, and it's something I'm passionate about.
Sergeant Kep admits there are some people who would rather he stay behind a desk and do his work from the safety of a police headquarters, but his message to them is clear. That's not why he became a police officer, and he says that's not going to change now.
If we can curb the driving behaviors before they lead to a situation like mine, we don't have to deal with the heartbreak and the tragedy and all that.
In Montgomery County, Max Marcella, DC News Now.
Such an incredible attitude and really such an inspiration as well. Now, the man accused of striking Sergeant Kep, Rafael Moraga, was charged with attempted first-degree murder. Now, before the crash, officers say they clocked him speeding at more than 110 miles per hour.